was announced last week that he has been in negotiations with the New York State Athletic Commission to come to a settlement, and he will now be banned from boxing for a year. I think he's had to fork over, was it $1 million or $2 million? Eamon can clarify in a minute, to the State Athletic Commission, and he will now be suspended for a year. Some people, including myself, feel like he's got off quite leniently, considering they, tested the B sample as well, and he did fail multiple tests. He continues to protest his innocence despite accepting the settlement. He's now talking about suing Eddie Hearn and DAZN, which I'm sure will be music to Eddie's ears if he's watching this. Eamon, what do you make of this latest news about Ryan Garcia? And yeah, please just tell me how much he has paid or will pay the New York State Commission.
So I believe he has to give $1.1 million back to Golden Boy, and I think the money back to the New York State Athletic Commission is around $10,000. I believe it is reported by Dan Raphael, alongside, of course, the year ban that runs from April, and also he has to submit himself to additional testing whilst the ban is active. Yeah, I think I do agree with what you're saying regarding this being, considering how active stars the level of Ryan Garcia are. Really, is he missing all that much? Is he missing all that big of a payday? What sort of fight was he going to have? Who was out there for him? He started rocket off of the back of that Devin Haney fight for sure, but also with the way he's been acting, you don't know how much appetite was there was for him to have another fight in a year's kind of span. I wonder if, well, naturally they've all kind of, or obviously I should say, they've all kind of come and sat around a room and made an agreement. I just wonder how much of this was in light of potential talk of lawsuits going around and how protracted those can be, both on the side of Devin Haney, both on the side of Ryan Garcia, who's now saying that he's going to sue Eddie Hearn off the back of that. I wonder how much of that played into the decision or the agreement there. It's disappointing, I guess, because if you're found to have that in the system and strict liability, you can't prove as to why that wasn't a contaminated substance that you took that got you that failed test in the first place. Then you should be banned for it. There is a story going around now that's emerging of a fighter who fought Galal Yafai recently, Moises Calleros, who's been banned, and Liam Cameron, who was out actually last Friday, he was banned for 4 years. 4 years, yeah, off of, again, such a, I believe, to be minutiae found in his system, and cocaine, I believe.
Enhancing as well.
Exactly, that was the point I was coming to there. And that's 4 years. Now, this is Ryan Garcia, who on multiple occasions, according to this case, has found Ostarine in his system. And I'm not too clued up fully on Ostarine, but I believe Ostarine's more so for making the weight, I believe, as opposed to, any actual punch power or resistance or whatever it is. Again, I go to the gym maybe once or twice a week, or I take protein supplements, so I don't really know the situation in and out. But if you're found to have performance enhancing substances in your system, I would hope that the ban would be longer than a year. I think Amir's banned for 2 years. Is it 2 years? Yeah. So maybe that it's on their. Maybe their punishment for Ostarine, maybe the science behind it is that they don't see Ostarine as being one of the top tier performance enhancing substances. Not so certain on that case, but when it comes to drug sheets and drug use, it's a serious situation which should hand out serious bans. I don't believe that 1 year in the context of boxing right now is serious enough of a ban for Ryan Garcia. It's also a case that I feel that with the way Ryan acts and the profile that he's got, and the way kind of news is filtered and the way people receive news these days, it's very easy for him to also escape kind of the social punishment to the eye of you being a drugs cheat as well, which is kind of accepted more so in boxing.
He can shape this as a vindication.
Yeah.
you know, he can make it look like he's innocent through this, because he can say, well, look, all these other people got 4 years, 2 years. They've only given me a year because they know deep down that I'm innocent and I'll end up proving it. And it's just bullshit. Like, everything you said's right, and you're very, very polite about it. And I appreciate that, because it's a good counterpoint to me just flying off the handle and probably getting us sued. But you're suing everyone else, you might as well sue us. Just joking if our owner's watching this. But it's just seriously bullshit. I mean, first of all, I reject completely the idea of negotiated settlements for drug issues. It's absolutely ridiculous. You break the rules, you get caught. The governing body, in this case, the New York State Athletic Commission, should make the decision based on precedent and based on their rule book, and then that's it. It shouldn't be a case of, well, I'll be willing to accept this punishment and pay this amount of money if you do this, and I won't want to admit liability, but if I admit liability, maybe I'll pay. Do you know, bollocks, absolute rubbish. You have a governing body shouldn't be negotiating with a fighter who's been found guilty of taking performance-enhancing substances. And whether it was intentional or not doesn't matter. He hasn't proved it was unintentional. He hasn't even admitted it was in his system. The fact is, it was found on 3 separate tests, 2 from Varda, 1 from New York, to be in his system. Whether it gave him any benefit, irrelevant. Whether it was intentional, irrelevant. Whether he acknowledges it was ever in his system, irrelevant, or at least it should be. So I don't agree with the whole premise of negotiated settlements in these issues. But furthermore, a 1-year ban, as you've pointed out, Eamon, with someone like Liam Cameron, who got 4 years and seemed to offer up quite a lot of evidence to his innocence as well, and for a non-performance enhancing drug in cocaine, absolutely crazy. And he's lost his prime years as a result. Now, I'm not saying Liam Cameron, all due respect to him, would have got to the elite level like Ryan Garcia has. That's not really the point. It should be one rule for everyone. And strict liability was really strict in Liam Cameron's case and has been incredibly lenient in Ryan Garcia's case. 1 year for, he's gone into a fight that he was widely expected to lose. He's dropped the guy 3 times and got what looks on the night like a deserved victory. And we should point out that has now been changed to a no contest, as it should. And you can't say the drugs in his system definitely gave an advantage. There's no way we'll ever know. But to win that clearly and using, he's always been a puncher, but really, and Devin Haney has gone down before, we know that. But to win in such explosive fashion with that in your system and then only get a 1-year ban, it's not just that Ryan Garcia, can present this as a good look for him. It's also, what does it do for boxing? Ryan Garcia has been praised, and rightly so, in the past for bringing in this new generation of fans, the social media generation, Gen Z. And fair play to him for that. But then if what they're getting from the sport is, oh, well, you can take drugs because, he says he's innocent, whether he is or not, he's only got a 1-year ban. He'll be back in a year and he's still a young man. So it just makes absolutely no difference. So, yeah, pissed me off a bit. But let's go to the chat.